Hello, everybody.
What's up?
So I need everybody to tell me, just so everybody knows, me and Corin just spent like 15 minutes trying to figure out what's going on with the volume right now because I hear myself through my microphone and in my headphones perfectly clearly, but he sounds like he's using just the laptop mic, but we tested it 1,000 times. He's not using the laptop mic. He's using the official mic, but for some reason, it just sounds like the volume on his end does not sound on point. It sounds like it's not the same as it usually is. So either something's messed up with the settings on my mic, the way I'm hearing him, or something's messed up on his end. But either way, I'm not sure. Like, there's a chance everybody listening right now hears you like they normally hear you, and there's a chance that they hear you the way I hear you right now, which is kind of trash. So we'll see.
I went to the Skype settings and I did preferences and all that shit, and it shows that it's like the microphone is feeding the output, but I don't know. People always are going to clown us for not knowing any technology type of shit, but I hear it fine. I haven't changed anything, so.
Yeah, but that's the thing is, like, usually whenever your shit is lagging,
Yeah.
it doesn't affect our recording because our recording's on this side.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, now that's a detriment.
Pick up a lower volume because it's on
What's
your
that?
side. It could pick up a lower volume
That's what I'm saying.
because it's on your side.
That's what I'm saying. So even though it sounds good to you, the fact that it doesn't sound good to me leads me to believe that me talking right now, everybody's going to hear me at a high-ass volume, and then you, like, when you start talking, it's like...
That's what the shit is like anyway. I mean, like, people are here.
Not always. Sometimes our volume is usually pretty solid.
But if there was a poll of who they wanted to hear louder, you would win 100% to 0. So I don't think people, like, if it was the other way around, if my shit was loud and your shit was low, people would get tight. But the fact that your shit is loud and my shit is low, people are like cool with it.
No, people are going to get tight either way. I would get tight if I was listening to. I'm like, what? I don't hear one of you. What the fuck are you doing?
I had my first experience of that. Shout out to Corin's World, but I was doing a chat with Angel, and we were doing like a basketball free agency shit. And I noticed when we started talking on the chat that like his volume was fucked up, like it was like mad, like staticky, and like just sounded off. But like I could still hear him. And I posted the shit, and Molly was like, "Oh, the volume sort of," or people were writing like the volume sort of fucked up, and I was like, "I don't give a fuck. Like, you could hear this shit, right?" And then I asked Angel, I was like, "Yo, is the volume fucked up?" He was like, "Yeah, it's fucked up. Like, take that shit down. We'll do it over again or some shit." And then like that night, he went to a hookah bar, and I will never fuck with any hookah bars because that shit is just like so grimy to me. The whole concept of just, I think you just go into a hookah bar, they give you like the hookah set shit with the like the prongs on them, and then you just like buy the hookah and use that shit. Like it's just like renting out some bowling shoes, but you're doing it with like you put it in your mouth and inhale it. And so that night, he said he got like some weird throat shit, like his throat closed up and like he couldn't talk, so he couldn't record anymore. So I took the shit down. But in my mind, I was like, I don't give a fuck that the sound is fucked up. Like,
no, it matters. Like I'm this close to telling you, just unplug your Yeti microphone and maybe the laptop is better.
Really?
Yeah, because the problem is the sound difference between us. I hear me crystal clear, kind of loud, and then when you talk, it's very low. I don't know why.
I'm nervous to even try that shit because then like I don't know what would happen to the audio.
Yeah, no, don't do it. But it's still, maybe we should have test run that before we even started. But whatever, it is what it is.
Yeah, I was thinking about beforehand. I was like, whatever we talk about, and this goes with any podcast. Like people just gotta listen to that shit. Like whatever they're doing, like we could be talking about like peeing on whales. That's just what's gonna be like in people's like computer when however they listen to us. People say they listen to us while they're gaming, while they're like driving to work or something like that. But wherever our conversation goes is the shit that like the way their mind has to go for that hour and a half or whatever, how long we're talking.
Well, the funniest thing is that if somebody's like at work and they accidentally leave it like running and they go to do something, and then somebody's listening, and then they hear you say something like peeing on whales.
Well, that's why I mean with Instagram now they put I always make sure that my sound is off when I'm at work, or like somewhere, like if I bring Nix to like some library shit and there's all kids around and I just want to scroll on my Instagram page, I always make sure my sound is off because I follow some, like 50 Cent is always notorious for posting some weird shit, or like just you've got some boy out there or like a girl will just post like her at the club over the weekend wilding out, like yelling like give me some more vodka, and you just don't want to be that person in like a kid's reading class or at work or like at like a parent teacher night or like some concert or some shit, and your phone just like have some weird like 50 Cent like, yo, tell that shit to shake that shit a little bit more on my face. And like you got your daughter like ready to read some like Borenstein Bears book or some shit, and like 50 Cent is asking for ass cheeks in his face.
I have a similar story to that. So me and my buddy Brian, I'll text him crazy shit just like I text you crazy shit and you text me crazy shit. And I said something to him, which is honestly just a regular ass day for us. Like, I sent him a text that was like, you should probably suck off that goat, and sent a picture of a goat. And he said that he was at work and he had left his phone sitting on something. And then somebody, like,
sitting on the toilet.
Some girl, like, walked up to him with the phone when he left it and was like, you forgot your phone, don't worry, I didn't look.
Oh.
So he definitely, like, she definitely saw the thing about him sucking off goats and was like, does he suck off goats?
Oh, no. Did you ask him how that ended? Like, did he, because you got to bring it up after that.
He was like,
the way she said that is almost like she saw your shit.
100%.
Gonna call you out for being like a weird goat sucker.
100%. She definitely thought he was into like bestiality or something, and he was like, it felt weird. Like he had that sinking feeling in his stomach. He was like, oh shit, she definitely thinks that I'm like some weird motherfucker now. I mean, he is weird enough to have those fucking conversations with me where we say whatever the fuck, like shit like that.
Yeah. If someone saw our text threads, they would be like, like if they just picked up in the middle of a text thread from like 2 weeks ago, they would be like, what in the fuck?
I sent you some shit yesterday. What was it?
Well, lately, I think we've just been sending some gifts back and forth. Oh, I sent you a picture of David Hasselhoff's face. And David Hasselhoff definitely needs to get some work done on his face.
That shit was funny. And then I said something last night that it like it started with something and then it just degraded into me saying like stupid nothingness. I forget what it was, but anyway.
We were talking yesterday because some Tiger Woods' weird video.
That shit was weird.
That was so sketchy.
Yeah, Tiger was like, he was like, hey everybody, I'm waking up at 1 a.m. to get ready for the British Open, but he sounded like so awkward, almost like he was high as fuck or something, you know?
His eyes were like super wide open and like he was just awkwardly talking like he was on some pills or some shit.
Yeah, well he might have been. Who knows?
But people were saying, why doesn't he just go over to wherever the British Open is?
Everybody said that. I thought he was going over early. He made it seem like he was gonna go over early, but then he's just waking up at 1 a.m. Like, what do you do when you wake up at 1? You can't play golf that early. You got to wait until like 6 to play.
Yeah, I didn't get the whole waking up at 1 thing because like, what time are you going to sleep?
Yeah, I mean, he's like an old-ass man, except, yeah, like, he's got to go to sleep at what? Like, 8? 9?
And then even then, how many hours of sleep is that? 9? 10?
4? Something like that? 9, 10, 11, 12, 1. Yeah, that'd be 4 hours of sleep. But that's the thing. He's one of those people, like, so the sleep thing is interesting because apparently Donald Trump claims, but he's probably full of shit, but he says, like, oh, I only sleep like 4 hours a night. And then
Kevin Hart said that shit on Joe Rogan too. That like.
So Kevin Hart said it too.
Couple.
Super sleepers they call it, but then also you have.
I think that's healthy.
It's campy. You have the other end of the spectrum. LeBron says he sleeps like 10 or 12 hours a night, and then it's weird because some people claim to get as little as like 3 or 4. Some people claim as much as like 10 or 12 or even 14, which is nuts.
That's too much.
Yeah, but like, my thought was your thought too, that if you're somebody who says, oh, I function on not a lot of sleep and I'm fine that way, I always feel like it's got to catch up to you, right?
100%.
Because you getting 4 hours of sleep a night, I mean, damn, in like a year or 2 years, you got like a massive sleep debt you have to pay off, you know?
I mean, look at it like a I feel like you can compare it to like a cell phone battery. It's like you charge your shit up to 100, you're good for a hot minute. But then like you start letting it get down to like 20 or 30 or some shit like that, and obviously that shit's gonna die faster than when that shit was at 100. Like it's just math. It's just basic math.
Batteries do die faster the closer they get to zero. Did you know that?
Well, Molly will say her shit is at like 96, and then like won't even touch it. She'll have it in like a bag, and then she'll take it out. Maybe it was in like some heat or something like that, and it'll be down to like 17%.
That was my old iPhone 7 was defective, and it had a battery problem, and it would die so fast.
And then I think they did something where you can go to the Apple store and like they would fix your battery or some shit. But then even when they fixed it, like they didn't really fix it. Like the battery was still like the batteries still die super fast.
The iPhone 4 I had was good. The battery was good. Then I don't buy new phones a lot. I would keep mine for a long time. Mm-hmm. So I got the iPhone 4, had that until the iPhone 7. Actually, no. It was like when the iPhone 8 came out, I got the iPhone 7.
Yeah.
And I was going to keep the 7 for a dumb long time, too, like I always do. But the battery was so bad, I had to upgrade. And so I got the 8 Plus, and the 8 Plus battery's fine.
When the new shit came out, and you're like, yo, I got the new iPhone. I was like, oh, you got that new 8 shit? You're like, nah, I got the 7. I was like, but the new shit just came out. And you're like, nah, I got the older shit. And I was like, wait, what?
Because you know me, I don't give a fuck about shit like that, you know?
I know. I'm always the opposite. I need like the newest shit, but in reality, it's the older shit that works way better than like the new shit.
Yeah, like the iPhone 8 Plus I have works well in terms of battery and everything, so I'm just going to keep this until it fucking breaks.
Yeah. I should have kept like my original iPhone shit, because that thing was money.
Which one?
Whatever like the first like functioning iPhone like was.
The original iPhone?
It's like 5? That shit didn't start at 1, I don't think.
Yeah, it did. The iPhone was the first one. Just the iPhone.
Was an iPhone 2?
No, it was just iPhone, I think.
No, what I'm saying, but then was there an iPhone like...
Oh, I don't know. I don't know what it went to right after iPhone.
That's what I'm saying. I think they skipped a couple numbers. Like,
oh.
I don't think it started... Like, there was an iPhone, but then I think they just went to, like, 4 or 5 or some shit. Like,
no, I don't think they jumped right to 4.
I don't think there's a 1, 2, and 3.
Nah, there might be. I don't know. We could look it up, but I'm too lazy to look it up.
You know what I'm saying? I think they just jumped to a number, though.
I mean, that's a lot of companies do that. Like, I know with golf companies, they'll have, like, a line of shit, and then they'll just switch up the numbers on you. And you're like, what? Like, it'll go from, like, Ping came out with, like, the G35 driver, or it was, like, G15, and then G35, and then they went back to G, but that was the new shit.
Yeah, but I get it if you're hopping to, like, a big number like 35 or some shit, but if you're going to just jump to 4...
Dog, they went from 35 to nothing. It was G15, G35, G. You would think G is the fucking 4 years older model or something, you know?
G is the first shit, yeah. That one's a little weird. Well, like, if you're going to try and go numerical, like, if your plan after that is to do, like, the 7, 8, 9, and then, like, they'll even switch it up and do, like, a Roman numeral in their shit. So next year it could be, like, the iPhone X, and you're just like... Why are you switching it up from the number shit?
New rule, you have to just stick with whatever the shit was.
Yeah, like 1, 2, 3. But like Jordan did that shit. It was like the Jordan 1s. And then over time, I think, well, actually, let me correct that, because it would be like 1 through whatever, 20, I don't know what it's up to now. But you could also go by Roman numerals. So like, it would be like, when you want like the 12s, it would be like XII or some shit like that, whatever 12 is. So like, I think it was written out Roman numerically, but it was like like when you said it, it was just a number. If that makes any sense. Yeah,
but that's what happens when you have like new management is when they fuck it up. Like some new person comes in and they think they got a brilliant idea and they just fuck up the line.
Yeah.
Like
they had a new person come through to Jordans, and then you could see the dip like after. I think it's like after 22 or something like that, the shit start getting whacked.
What year was that? Did it drop off back in the day, like 2010?
No, I think it might have been like 4 or 5, like 5 or 6, 7 years ago or something like that. Within the last 10 years, I think they switched to like, there was some guy named, I think his name was like Tinker Hatfield or something like that. He was the one who made all the hot Jordans. and then they got rid of him, or he went somewhere else, maybe Converse,
Mm-hmm.
and then they brought this new dude in and started making wax shoes.
Um,
Speaking of wax shoes, New Balances are starting to come back, but they're actually pretty hot.
that's what my dad used to wear,
I
man.
would rock some New Balances, low key.
Dude, that is like legit the old white man shoe.
No, but they make some hot shit.
No, but you only think it's hot now because you're an old white man now.
Fuck. Damn, that was sort of deep as fuck. I wasn't expecting.
That's what I'm saying. I remember my dad, all he wore was New Balance, dog. That's it.
Damn, is that how it happens?
That's how it happens, dog.
There's just a switch like that real quick?
Son, I didn't even realize it, but now all I have are like regular ass t-shirts and like golf shirts. Like those are my only options when I'm not doing the show.
Yeah.
And I'm wearing like business shit. It's either my business shit or it's like regular ass t-shirts now or golf shirts. And that shit just happens naturally because as you age and you're an old
That's what I'm
white dude,
saying.
you're just like, I gotta get golf shirts.
You just naturally conform to like that weird dad fashion.
What age? Like you were just a little before me with taking your earrings out, I should say.
Yeah. Well, I took those out. I think when I graduated college or something like that, I went for a job interview with the New Jersey Nets, like back in the day when they were in Jersey, and they were moving to Brooklyn the next year. So I was like, this could be all right. It was like a ticket sales job, and you had to sell season tickets for the New Jersey Nets their last year in New Jersey, which nobody gave a fuck about, and you had to try and sell those tickets and without mentioning like Brooklyn, which was what everybody wanted at the time. So I was like, so this is practically like an impossible job for a year. And they were like, yeah, pretty much. So because like everyone was tight that they were leaving Brooklyn, so no one's gonna buy season tickets because what the fuck are they gonna do? Like the whole point of season tickets is you buy the shits, and then the next year you have like an advantage to like move up or like
Yeah. They were probably giving them away though. They had to be mad cheap.
I mean, yeah, but the team was terrible, and like still, as cheap as they could be, people are still not gonna buy some shit just because they're cheap, you know? Like,
Yeah, but it had to be the equivalent of like $10 a game, right?
I mean, like, nah, it was still like a couple hundred. It was still an NBA team. It wasn't like some like WNBA or some like whack ass like minor league team. Like they were a professional. Like they were still playing Kobe and Shaq and all those guys. Like,
Right.
so like you still had to pay for that. But so long story short, I did my whole interview and I killed it. And the guy came to me at the end, and I had like I forgot to take my earrings out. Like they were big earrings, and he's like, we could offer you the job, but you just got to take those earrings out. And I was like, fuck, I forgot to take my earrings out. And then I think after that, I was like, let me just take my shits out. So that might have been in like 2011 or 2010.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So like maybe how many years ago? 8 years ago or something like that. But the crazy thing is, I think my holes are still open.
Yeah, I think mine are like they're not open, but if you were to try to put in new ones, it would work fine.
Yeah, but I don't know. I loved the earrings, and looking back on it, I used to have like the Chanel earrings with the CC logo, and like.
Yeah, but now, point is now we hit an age where, like, you could rock earrings if you're a dude until like 29. Like you can get away with it until 29.
That's pushing it.
But that's pushing it, but I'm giving people leeway, dog, because I'm nice.
Yeah.
But once you hit 30,
like some crazy rock star, or like a weird.
oh no, you can get away. There are many exceptions to the rule.
Exactly.
Like if you are a dude who's like legit grew up in the middle of the country on like a farm, and like you're G as fuck, like you're kind of like a redneck hillbilly type dude, but you're cool with it and you like rep it. You could rock some earrings. If you're like a G-ass black dude, you could rock some earrings beyond the date. Like, there are many exceptions. If you're some sort of an athlete or like a professional athlete.
Oh, yeah, professional athlete, you could wear those shits for your whole career.
Exactly.
35,
so, like,
40.
mad exceptions to it, but as a general rule, if you're a regular-ass person.
No, you gotta end it at 29.
If you're a corny-ass white dude like me and Corin, yeah, like, you could rock it until 29, and then.
I think you could still have yours in.
Yeah, but at a certain point, it just becomes like people will look at you when you're 30-something, and they're just like, I don't know, man. I don't know what you're trying to get at here.
Yeah, but there's so many people like that. I see so many older guys who are like 35 through probably 45 just wearing those types of shirts that say like kick me in the nuts, try me or some shit like just like weird ass
What?
sayings that are like all over their shirts. You know what I'm saying? You've never seen those shirts, or it's just like I can't even think of a corny saying, but it's like that stuff you see at a carnival that like you fucking would be like, who wears those shirts? And you see people wearing those shirts are probably like 35 through 45
Yeah,
years old.
but okay, those are corny as fuck, but they're also kind of jokey, so I give it a pass.
No, I don't give those shirts a pass.
Okay, but wait, now I got to hit you with this question. If you saw a dude who's 35 years old and he's either repping like the corny ass shirt you just said or wearing some old school like Ed Hardy shit.
That's a tough one.
What? It's not tough at all.
I'm not a fan of any of those shirts that say corny sayings on them.
I know, but if you're a 35-year-old dude, it's par for the course. Like, you can get away with, like, I'm the old, like, out-of-touch guy. But if you're 35 and you're trying to rock some, like 2000 club shit.
But what if they genuinely like the Ed Hardy shit because of the design or something like that?
Nah. Fuck out of here. It's like I wore Echo Unlimited when I was, like, a teenager. Yeah. I just can't rock some Echo shit now.
But what if they came out with a hot shirt?
Nah, you can't. At a certain age, you can't do it, bro. There are exceptions. Like I said, we in our book of rules, there are like many exceptions, but for me, I can't do it.
Champion was some old shit that we wore when we were a kid. Now they make some sort of hot shit. Like
I rock with Champion, but see, okay, but now we got to dive into the specifics because if it's just like a regular athletic wear company, you could rock that. What's that?
Like Umbro used to make shit back in the day.
I don't remember them.
You don't remember Umbro?
No.
Probably all your soccer gear was Umbro, like the checked shorts.
Okay, but I'm saying like Russell athletic shit.
I don't really fuck with Russell.
But it's just regular shirts, like you could.
You can't. Yeah, it's just basic shit. Some sweatpants or like a t-shirt.
Or a t-shirt, like regular shit and like athletic wear shit. That's a tried and true. Doesn't matter what age, but you can't rock some niche shit.
You can't wear FUBU again.
I never wore FUBU. Did you?
Well, not you. No, I never wore FUBU either. But like, if FUBU try to come back out with their shit now, and you try to turn back the clock and wear some FUBU shit, it's like, nah, that window closed mad long ago.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like rocking some Echo shit or some FUBU shit. Remember when Eminem had that clothing line, Shady?
I do.
It's like they're.
And One Basketball actually had some shit.
Not for nothing, I file them under the same category as like Champion because they just make some regular like basketball shorts. I actually just got a pair of their basketball shorts not that long ago.
Yeah, they make basketball shorts. The only thing I didn't like about their basketball shorts, like they were more on the baggier end.
I like that though.
Oh, really?
I don't like it when the shorts go above your knee.
Yeah, see, I've always been a big fan of my calves. I don't know what it is. I think my dad has.
Not for nothing, you do have some nice calves.
Thank you.
You really do. Like, I'm super self-conscious about my calves because I have genetically shitty calves. And I remember reading all about this when I was a teenager and I was working out. And I was like, damn, I definitely got to fix my calves. And I was reading about it. And apparently, there's some people whose calves, they just stop at a pretty high line. You know what I'm saying? Like, some people's calves go all the way, like, almost to their foot, the back of their foot. They have big calves. Whereas other people have smaller calves, and then a lot of the bottom part of their leg is just not, there's no muscle there. That's me. I have, like, shitty, weak-ass calves.
Can you, like, when people say, like, oh, you skipped leg day, like, I feel like you can't make your legs like grow bigger.
You can, but the calves you're limited for calves. Like if I were to work out my calves a lot and get them bigger, they would get bigger. But even if they get bigger, the area below my calves, there's a lot of area there before it gets to my foot.
Yeah,
because it's long, exactly. So like that area is just never going to get bigger. That just is what it is. But the other part of your leg, like, you know, whatever, your hamstrings and shit, your thighs, like, you could definitely, your glutes, you could work all that out and get it bigger for sure. Anybody can.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, when you watch these weightlifting competitions, they always do that stretch where they show their thighs and they, like, put their foot forward. But you don't really see them do any shits with their with their bottom half of their legs. I mean, I could be wrong.
Well,
Like,
calf raises people do. I don't know if they do it in those like competitions or whatever, but definitely
like
people
calf
do
raises
squats
for,
and
like-
deadlifts for that, and when they work out.
Yeah, but that's for like that part of your leg that has like that, like, there's like you said, there's that long part, but then there's that like curvy part where like it's just more meaty. But there's no exercises for that bottom like long part.
No, that's what I'm saying. There's nothing you could do for that part.
That's what I'm saying. It's a wrap. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that shit's whack.
I was so self-conscious about that, but Tiger Woods has the same problem.
Yeah, but it like doesn't look bad. Like it's like
No, you just look like you have kind of skinny legs. It's just unavoidable. You just look like you have skinny legs.
Socks too. I don't know if you ever did, but like I wear like sort of higher socks where it goes up.
Yeah, I wear like the ankle ones.
You should do the sock like a higher sock, like some like shit that goes up.
Nah,
It's
my
like-
dad used to wear those high socks. That's got an old man vibe to it too.
No, not if you wear it with some flip flops and sort of kill that shit. That's how I do it.
Nah, you can get away with it. I can't get away with that. Yeah, I can't get away with that. You're about to get mad comments now where people are going to be like, "Oh my god, his leg."
That shit just hurt my back. My back has been so fucked up.
Yeah, your back is fucked up. That's crazy. I'm the one that plays golf and you're the one with a fucked up back.
I know, and I use a heating. I don't know if this is bad. Someone out there, if you're listening and you like know, if you know about like 1960s heating pads, is it bad to sleep with a heating pad on my back every night? I feel like there's some like electronic shit that's not good for my body somehow.
No, I don't. That wouldn't be the issue, but if you feel like your back is still hurting, then you should not do the heating pad because obviously it's not working.
Well, if I feel like it helps a little bit, like when I wake up, it's fine. Like I feel like it's doing an okay job, just very slowly. I'm just worried about like it's plugged into an outlet and there's shit like there's electrolytes.
That should be
and all
fine.
this
It
shit.
should be fine. I mean, if you get a newer one, it could be like time sensitive, which is better. You know what I'm saying? Like if you keep one plugged in all night and it's old and it doesn't like
This shit is super old. Like it looks like the design on it is it's like your grandmother's old school couch. Like it's like got
Wow.
the flowery orange
Yeah,
and
okay.
yellow shit.
yeah, you might want to get a newer one just to be on the safe side. But let me ask you, how do you respond to cold?
I don't really like. I mean, like I've gone in a cold pool with my daughter, and I just don't. I mean, like I got to get adjusted to it. I prefer like some heat shit.
Okay, because for me, it's weird, but anytime I've ever had any issue with like soreness or pulling something or pain in an area, I never respond well to heat on it. With heat always makes it worse for me. The thing that makes it better is cold for me.
But what do you do? Like icy hot or something?
So like there were times where I had a golfer's elbow, where like if I played like 2 days in a row, by the end of the second day, if you're not used to playing a lot, like you can get pain like inside your elbow.
Yeah.
And I used like an ice pack that you would have in the freezer and wrapped it around and kept it there. And after I took the ice pack off after like an hour, I could move my arm and everything felt fine. I've tried it with heat and it just made it more sore and made it less mobile for me.
I'm trying to think about when I roll my ankle. I automatically like always put ice on it, and I'm thinking if I were to put heat on it, it would just make it so much worse.
That's what I'm saying. See, that's why I'm saying about your back, like maybe cooling would do better.
Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe I'll try and put an ice pack on my back.
And my mom's a physical therapist, and so I talked to
She
her
said
about it.
cold.
What's that?
She says cold is probably a better way.
Well,
to
I told her, I was like, Mom, I always, like, when I use heat, it always makes it worse. When I use the cold, it always makes it feel better. And she's just like, always use cold then. So she made it seem like it's not, like, it's person by person type thing. Like, some people, they respond better to heat. Some people, it's better cold.
Yeah.
But for me, it's always cold. At any time, too, because sometimes they say, like,
Cold too.
immediately after you can ice it and later on you could heat it. Some people do that. But for me, it doesn't matter when it is. It's always the cold that helps.
Yeah, I'm gonna try doing cold. I think I got some like old pizza bagels or some shit I could put on my back.
Un pizza bagel. People don't know that
I crushed
inside
so many
joke.
Of those Kirkland Costco pizzas. I crushed like 4 of those in like the past week.
So good.
Banging.
They're my
And it's like,
favorite.
it takes 12 minutes to make the shit.
And
That's
it's
it.
like
preheat the oven, 425. 12 minutes later, boom, you're eating.
And it's legitimately like the most delicious frozen pizza.
It is banging. And I have like a pizza slicer, like the official circular shit. And I'll slice it down the middle, I'll slice the side, and I'll slice it into like it's not some knife shit. I'm like a fucking real legit.
Can you eat the whole thing in one sitting?
Yes.
Me too.
Yep.
Me too.
It's a little smaller, I would say, than Domino's pie because I feel like a Domino's shit.
It's a little smaller.
Like the last one or two slices, and I have to force myself.
Yep.
The Costco shit, I could eat that easily.
Yeah, I could eat it easily too, but I always felt bad after I did it because I was like, that's definitely supposed to be for like 2 people, and I just ate it all. You know?
Yeah, and then they have the people who sample that shit in Costco, and they turn one pie into like 40 different like sample slices. But like the fact that like we could just eat that shit in 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's weird.
I love going to Costco now because there's one by us in Wisconsin. We go on the weekend, and literally every aisle's got some other shit, and it's shit that I normally don't even eat.
You're such a child with that. Like you literally go for the samples.
Yeah, she'll be like, "This is a raisin parfait with some diarrhea in it," and I'll be like, "Ooh, okay." She'll give me a fork, and I'm like, "Not bad."
But don't lie, you never actually buy the shit that they have in the sample thing.
No, never buy this shit. No one ever buys this shit. Like people will ask, they'll be like, "Ooh, how much is that?" And they're like, "It's only $8.99 now if you buy this pack right here." And I'm like, "Okay, all right." Okay. And you just go to the next person who's got like chock full of nuts or something like that.
You always pretend to be interested.
Gotta be.
So going back, I want to ask you one question about that sleep thing. Do you think it's possible to pay off a sleep debt? So like if you don't sleep, let's say you only sleep 4 hours a night for like a week, okay? Mm-hmm. Can you the next week like make up for that by sleeping like 12 hours one night and like 10 hours another night, you think, or no?
Hell no.
No?
Hell no. I mean, like, your body isn't responding to some shit that happened a week ago. Like, it's on to the next shit. It's almost like...
So the damage is done?
The damage is done, yeah. People used to say that to, like, me and Molly before we got pregnant. Before I got pregnant. They'd be like, catch up on your sleep now. And I would just be like, fuck you. Like, that. Like, what does that even mean? Like... One, I'm gonna be tired as shit as it is. How can I catch up on my sleep? Like,
I'm picturing you actually saying that in the conversation when somebody's like giving you a friendly tip, like, "Oh, hey man, listen, let me tell you, bro, I got a newborn. You might want to catch up on your sleep now." And you're like, "Fuck you."
I just feel like giving anybody any type of advice is like some fucking narcissistic shit.
Yeah, you gotta portray it. You gotta like almost casually get to it where it seems natural. You can't just bring it up. It's got to be like there's got to be like a natural lead into it for it to not sound like you're a dick.
Yeah, well, if I ever need some advice for you, I'm gonna ask you.
Right.
And,
yeah.
Like, if I have a recommendation on some shit, like, yo, you should eat this shit, man. It's banging. And then it's on you to trust me or not. But like, if I'm like, hey man, here's a piece of advice for you and your show. It's just like, who the fuck are you? Like,
yeah, it's got to be presented in a way that's palatable because human beings are human beings. We're not gonna. It's not like any random thing anybody says. We're like, oh.
No, like he's trying to give me some advice right now, so I'm gonna just shut my brain off to this fucking dickwad.
Yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough. I often think about that with athletes and their coaches. Like some of these athletes are the best in the world, and they got coaches. Like, if you're that coach, who the fuck are you?
I know.
You know what I'm saying? Like, how you going to give, like, Nadal or fucking Federer advice in tennis? Like, what are you going to say? That he's going to be like, oh, thanks, I didn't know. Like, he knows. He's the fucking best player in the world.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess you're right. You got to point it out in a way that, like, you know that they know, but you sort of just want to reassure that maybe they are noticing that they're doing it wrong.
And it's got to be tough for those coaches because they got to feel like they always got to prove their value.
Yeah.
But like you could overreach easy and then they're like kind of fuck you like I know.
Yeah, it's probably got to be tough being like LeBron's personal trainer because then he goes to the Lakers and they've got their whole training staff too. So it's like if he likes a guy there or trusts what he says there, you know, the other guy could fucking get cut the next day just because he's hearing like he's involved with so many different professionals that like his guy. Yeah, you got to just be fucking super confident in the way that you tell them their shit.
And you can't be wrong. Like you can't. There's no room for error with a guy like LeBron because if you fuck up, he's gonna be like, "Yo, you fucked up," and you're done.
Yeah, that's a good point, man. Fuck. So it's almost better to just be a trainer for people who are fat and like dumb about fitness because they won't ever question your shit.
Well, I don't know. That's actually a really interesting question, and I'd like to ask personal trainers and coaches and stuff. Would you rather coach like a beginner, or would you rather train a beginner, or would you rather do it with somebody who's experienced? Because I feel like you get mixed answers because some people, like helping somebody who absolutely sucks at a sport, it could just get boring because there's so many directions you could go in with them. It's like, well, if you just do this, that'll help you, but then there's also these 8 other things you could do, but I'm not going to touch those yet. You know what I mean? Where somebody who's good, it's like you have to
tweak this one thing.
You have to, and you also got to watch out to not fuck them up too. Because if they're that good, they know what they're doing. You could make everything go to shit. That's what just happened. There's this guy who just won on the PGA Tour. He's 20 years old. His name is Matthew Wolff. He has the most god-awful, ugly swing I've ever seen in my life. But he found one coach who was like, nah, I'm going to work with it. Like, I'm not going to try to rebuild your shit from the ground up. And now that kid's a fucking PGA Tour winner with this god-awful, ugly-ass swing. So, like, every other coach would have tried to start him from scratch, and they would have been wrong. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's got to be hard to, like...
Yeah, well, someone said that there was a quarterback, on the Chargers, Phillip Rivers. He throws the ball fucking terrible. And one of the coaches was recruiting him or something, was going to draft him. They asked his high school coach, like, what'd you do, like, to fix his throw? His shit is mad ugly. And he was just like, I didn't. Like, it works. You know, like, so if that kid's swing was working and they just sort of had to, like, work around that shit, then you don't want to start from the scratch because then it's, like, teaching them a whole new fucking language. You know?
That's the thing is that, like, he could tell. He said, the coach said, because they spoke to the coach, he was like, yo, I could just tell by the sound. The sound of him hitting the golf ball, he's hitting it as pure as anybody in the world. Yep. Like, you could hear how crisp and pure it is. So why would I fuck with that? Basically, the only thing he did is he said, like, you have to rotate more into the ball instead of, like, firing your hip and sliding, because if you rotate more, the club will be more on plane and you'll hit straighter shots. And he did, and he started hitting straighter shots. He used to play this big hook, right to left shot. Mm-hmm. And he was like, yo, if you just rotate your hips more instead of sliding your hips, you're going to hit it straighter. And you could swing as hard as you want. You could keep your fucked up backswing the way it is. Doesn't matter. Like, you're good. And he did exactly that. And, dude, he won. He's 20 years old. This is just his 3rd tournament ever on the PGA Tour, and he won it.
Yeah, that's wild.
That might be a record. I don't know if anybody else has done that.
Tiger didn't win some shit when he was, like, 4 years old? He didn't win the Masters?
His 3rd tournament start? I don't know. I think Tiger won at the same age that this guy won at. He's 20 years old. I think Tiger won at the age of 20, but I don't think Tiger won his 3rd start on the PGA Tour. Because there's usually a learning curve when you get out there. You don't just get out there and fucking dominate. Well, Tiger did, but I'm saying the 3rd start is, like, immediate.
You gotta learn, just the ins and outs.
Everything.
Yeah.
Because it's a whole new ball game. You're playing against the best players in the world. It's like going from the NCAA to the NBA. More than half the guys in the NCAA can't hang in the NBA.
Yeah. Yeah, there's very few. I mean, like, LeBron did okay his first couple games, but it wasn't on some next level shit. Like he didn't win a championship his first year.
Right,
There's
exactly.
A girl, 15-year-old girl who just made it to, like, the Sweet 16. She lost in the Wimbledon. She's 15. She beat, like, Serena Williams. I don't know her name, but, like, 15 years old.
It's so crazy how young they're good now. In every sport, they're really, like, the young people are, like, super good. Like, young as in before fully even developed young. 15. That's crazy, dude.
A 15-year-old, like, shouldn't be beating Serena Williams. Like, that's just not, like, she's a grown woman.
How old is she now? Is she getting up there for tennis years?
Yeah, definitely. She's got to be in her 40s.
That's the thing that's so tough about being an athlete, is that at some point, it just all goes away.
Yeah, but all she's really doing is, like, moving her arm.
Nah, dog, you gotta run like a monster on that court.
I know, but, like, so then speed must just play such a big part. Like,
oh, of course, it's tennis. Explosiveness,
really
speed,
just,
quick
yeah.
change of directions.
But it's not like basketball where you're like jumping like a Vince
It's
Carter.
not jumping, but it's a left and right. It's lateral motion that's super fast. Vertical motion is basketball, and lateral for.
Like, with golf, does getting up there in age make a difference?
Well, that's the thing that I love about golf personally is that you can play basically until you're like super old. Like, don't get me wrong, there are no like 75-year-old or 80-year-old people who are beasts, but the greatest players ever are usually really great until they're like 60.
Yeah.
So it's like there's this guy Bernard Longer who plays on the senior tour, 50 and over, and he's 60 years old, and he's a fucking monster, bro. And here's the thing, like you know if they're really falling off because you could tell in the scores. And the scores are still like they were when he was 30.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's what makes golf really interesting and fun is that it's not like other sports where you know at a certain point, like, okay, my time's up soon. With golf, you're good until you're like 60.
But so what is it at 60? You just don't have the power to hit it far anymore?
Well, yeah, usually once you get like over 60, you lost enough of the power. Like you could still be competitive with like 75% of full power. But once you get below that 75% number, it's too hard. And like if you're hitting it like 60% as far as you used to, that's not you're not hitting it long enough to compete, and then that puts too much pressure on your short game, your putter, your chipping, your pitching. You're hitting too long of clubs into par fours all the time, and you can't get away with it. But you can until you're like 60, you could do it. Like Jack Nicklaus in like the 1990s was sometimes randomly contending at major championships, and he was old as fuck then.
Wasn't Tom Watson like fucking
Tom Watson in 2009, yeah, at age 59, he almost won the British Open.
Yeah,
and there's a reason why. Because the British Open, so the courses over there, oftentimes in the middle of the summer, they get really baked out and they're really firm. And when the courses are really firm, you hit a shot and it lands and it just rolls forever. So distance is kind of taken out of the picture. And in the British Open, it's more about just precision, like accuracy, precision, knowing where to land the ball on these courses to mesh with the slopes properly. And then like putting, your putting has to be on too. So yeah, at age 59, he almost won the British Open, man. It was like, would have been maybe one of the greatest stories ever in golf.
I remember that. It was super cool. Imagine a 59-year-old like coming back to an NFL game.
That's what I'm saying. It's like you can't imagine in the NBA and the NFL and tennis and nothing else can you imagine them hanging on that long.
Like a 59-year-old wide receiver going across the middle and like Ray Lewis just like fucking cracking his
That
body.
would look hilarious because everybody looks different when they're in their 50s and they walk. Like they're just stiffer all the time.
I would love if like freaking Albert Leonard Middle School wrote me a letter and was just like, hey, you still got a year of eligibility left to play in middle school basketball. And like I could go back there right now and just fucking feel like LeBron James.
You would be the Shaq. Forget LeBron James. You'd be the Shaq.
Oh, man. That should be, if I could like make a wish, not like make a wish foundation, but if I could just make a wish and do some shit, like not like, obviously I would wish for like $1 bajillion, but I would also wish to like be allowed to play in some like elementary school like championship basketball game.
I love how most people hearing that would go, like if they got invited to play in their middle school thing, they'd be like, nah, come on, don't be ridiculous. You're like fist pumping, like, yes, I can't wait to dunk on these little fuckers.
I used to, at my junior college, I used to like help practice with the women's team, and they were still very good, but like it was a women's like junior college basketball team. So like for me, that was like their ceiling was like, no, not their ceiling. Their bottom level basketball was like my ceiling. So I was like, I sort of could dominate a game if I wanted to, but they could also lock me down if they wanted to, because it was just like, depends on what type of like level they were at that day. You get what I'm saying? Like they were at the bottom of like college basketball, but like they could have been like some next level shit. So some days they were on that next level shit. Most of the days they were on their bottom level, which was my top shit.
Yeah,
so, like,
I know exactly what you're saying.
Crossing them or going to the rack, but other days they would lock me down, and I just felt like it was such a good feeling to like cash a three, or the coach would be like, Corin, just do you, like drive to the basket or some shit, like try to get around them. I was like, I got you. I'll like pull across and then I'll go to the rack. So
Yeah,
I'm
being
doing
competitive is great, but then sometimes you get the opposite happening, and like you get shut down, and it's
yeah,
just
when you're having a
miserable.
bad day, it's just like you just want to pack that shit up and go home. Like
But then,
that's how I feel when I play golf. After 8 holes, I'm like, fuck this shit.
yeah, but sometimes it depends because there's like a level of like if you're doing like so bad that it's almost embarrassing, then yeah, you're gonna feel like fuck this, I want to go home. But if you play bad, but there's still a little bit of hope, then it makes you want to work harder
Yeah.
because you're like, oh shit, I remember that shot I hit on the fourth hole. That one was perfect. Like I want to try to do that all the time.
It's tough. I feel like it's super tough to get out of that, like, like, find out, like, oh, I did something right 2 holes ago, or like I made like a crazy jump shot three possessions ago, but like I'm whack right now. But go back to that good moment. I would just be like, fuck that, you're whack right now. I don't know. It's like you got to find that, like, it's like some people don't have that, like get over that hump fucking like mentality when it comes to anything, work or whatnot. Like if I can't figure some shit out, I'm shutting it down. Like if you give me the IKEA directions in step 7, I can't fucking get past that shit.
Well, for the
I'm not doing
IKEA thing, I'm with you. For the IKEA thing, I'm with you. But for sports shit, I'm the opposite with sports. With
But
sports,
why
it's
can't
just
you apply that shit with the IKEA shit? Like, oh, steps 1, 2, 3, 4. I just beasted that shit.
because that's more engineering than sports. Like engineering is one thing. Sports is almost like to some extent a battle of will. Like a lot of it does come down to proper technique, and a lot of it does come down to like strength and conditioning. But it also is largely a battle of will. And like my whole philosophy on that is like, well, I'm just gonna always give it 100% with my will. Where like I'm going to always try my hardest so that I never have to question that part of the equation. That part's always going to be full bore. Now, on the other hand, if I'm like just not in good enough shape at the moment, then I'm going to get fucking waxed, but I'm still going to try my hardest. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I feel like that same mindset would apply to that IKEA shit.
Nah, because like I said, it's engineering. It's mechanical. It's like here's the steps you have to follow, and it's just a matter of like, I don't want to take directions. With sports, there's no directions. You're the boss.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you have the freedom to do what you want when you're playing sports.
That's true.
To
Whereas
put
the
together
other shit-
something, you're kind of boxed in, and it's like, this is what you have to do. Some people like that certainty of, like, here's the steps. Me, I'm more like, no. I like reinventing the wheel and just figuring it out myself.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there was a video game, and I think I've said this before, but it was Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell. And, like, I got to, like, level whatever. There was, like, a million levels of this shit. I got to, like, level 22 or some shit. And there was a certain way that you had to beat that level. I just couldn't do it. You had to like pick the lock and then like do some crazy shit, but like then you'd beat the level, and the game would probably be so much fun after that. But I never played the game after that level because I just couldn't beat the shit.
Well, I'm the same way with stuff like that, where it's like, there's this one way to do it, and they made it super annoying. And it's like, no, I don't like that. I want to fucking find my own way to do it.
I know, there should have been, like, I should have been able to take out one of the guns that I was carrying and like just blown through the lock instead of having to pick that shit with a lock cutter or something. Like, fucking, don't be so realistic, Tom Clancy.
Yeah, like I said.
You are Tom Clancy. I think he wrote books and made video games. Fucking overachiever.
Yeah, did he actually do both of those, or they just put his name on it for one of them?
I don't know. Did Tom Clancy write? I think he wrote books,
I have no idea.
but he had a million video games. I don't know why it was like Tom Clancy Splinter Cell. Maybe he was just the.
Maybe he was just the author, and they used his books and paid him to put his name on the video games. I don't know.
Well, he sounds like he'd definitely be like a Trump supporter to put your name on every single. I bet you if we were to look up Tom Clancy, he's definitely some conservative, like fucking dickhead guy who's like at Trump rally. He probably spoke at the Republican National Convention.
No way.
I'm telling you, you don't plaster your name on a whole bunch of shit if you're not a fucking like. Is egotistical the right word?
So, okay, here we go. Tom Clancy was an American novelist, best known for his technically detailed espionage and military science storylines set during the Cold War. 17 of his novels were bestsellers, and more than 100 million copies of his books were sold. His name was also used on movie scripts written by ghostwriters, nonfiction books on military subjects, and video games. He was part owner of the Baltimore Orioles and vice chairman of the Community Activities and Public Affairs Committee.
Conservative. He's donated to fucking the Koch brothers or some shit.
I'm looking at he died in 2013.
Does he look like a prick?
The picture of him that they show is old.
So that means he looks like a prick. Is it like some black and white shit?
It is.
Yeah, he's a prick.
I'm just gonna type in for a keyword search and put conservative. A longtime proponent of conservative and Republican views.
Told you, man. A whole bunch of shit.
Yo,
fucking conservative.
Yo,
Like
you knocked it out of the park.
You wouldn't even know that shit. You would have to look through 20 fucking credits to find out that Bernie Sanders was making these fucking video games.
Clancy dedicated books to American conservative political figures, most notably Ronald Reagan. Wow, dude. Wow.
Show if you fucking plaster your name, that Trump might have been a Tom Clancy fucking supporter. Like, that might have been one of his idols.
Dude, I'm like, you fucking nailed it, dog. You got, just from the fact that he likes to put his name on shit, you were like, oh, he's definitely a Republican.
His name was on everything. Not like I can't think of anyone else now, but like, you plaster your name on that shit, you're a dick. Because you want all the fucking credit, which means you don't care about other people.
That was impressive that you just nailed that right there.
I still bought his video game. It was a dope ass game. I think it sold like this was pre like Halo, pre whatever the other Gears of War, whatever these people are playing now. Look up, like, people listening, if you play video games, do your homework, buy an old school Xbox, like the first shit, the black with the green on it, and buy Splinter Cell. That shit was hot.
Rainbow Six was my shit.
Was that for Xbox?
That was Xbox 360.
Oh, I never had a 360.
That's the
360 was the one I wanted. That was the white shit, right?
Well, they had white and black too, but the original was white, I think. Yeah.
I never had a 360, but yeah, I wanted one of those badly. But I think I still have my old Xbox.
Did you hear about this Jeffrey Epstein guy?
Yeah, man. Fuck that guy and fuck that guy.
You know that 2 living presidents were on his fucking pedophile plane?
Yeah. Clinton comes out with a statement that says, I didn't know that he was involved in all this stuff. I only flew on his planes 4 times. Like, come on, man.
Damn, I didn't even know Clinton came out with a statement.
Yeah, he came out with a statement. Like, one of those times. And then, did you see Trump's? Like,
what did he say?
In a magazine back in the day.
Oh, yeah, he said he's a great guy. He likes women. A lot of people say they're younger women.
Yeah. Like, what? Like, he said, like, he's especially into younger women or something.
That's such a Trump thing to say, where he just, like, casually, like, he says some shit like that. Like, oh, he loves younger women. He's a pedophile is what I'm trying to say, folks.
Creepy, man. Like, it's just, it doesn't surprise me, because all those people that have billions and millions of dollars, like, they were so driven to get whatever they, were great in. Like, I don't know how that guy made his money, but whatever he did.
Hedge fund manager, I think.
Oh, yeah. Well, he probably just spent, like, years and years studying and, like, doing all this shit where, like...
He wasn't studying. He fucking had connections. That's it.
Oh. Well, but, like, he probably was, like... I mean, like, you don't have a social life when you're doing all that shit. So, like...
Dog, all they have is a social life. They're all fucking... He's probably, like, from a rich-ass family.
Yeah, true.
And he was just handed a fucking job on Wall Street or something. And he's just, like, his whole life has been about, like, snorting coke and fucking having sex and like, drinking champagne with his asshole friends on jets and shit, traveling the world.
But they're trying to say that, like, he can maybe even get off from this shit because it's, like, almost on some double jeopardy shit?
I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know the details of the case. I don't know the specifics of the previous attempt. I don't know the specifics of this one. But what I do know is that dude's a pedo.
Yeah, he's a fucking pedophile. He's a creep.
And he was like a pimp too. Like, he was whoring out young girls.
Get other girls, right?
young girls to rich, famous dudes. Like, that was the whole point.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was whoring out young girls to, like, famous dudes, and yeah, really creepy.
Yeah, like seeing Bill Clinton involved with him, like it just makes me like so much more like skeeved out by the Clintons. It's just like they're always around this shit, you know? It's just like with Donald Trump, like they were affiliated with him before he became president, and like buddy
Dog,
with him.
it's about class, man. It's not about party politics. It's not about Democrat, Republican. It's about class.
Yeah.
And they're all rich.
Yep.
And they're all in that, like, elite circle, and they feel invincible. And so they got a pedophile fucking buddy who pimps out young girls to famous people.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same shit that happens in Hollywood. Like, everyone's like, oh, Harvey Weinstein was doing all this shit? Like, come on. You guys were at the same parties. You run the same circles. You have the same conversations. Like, you know what people are about. You know, like, we would know, like, weird shit that was going on in high school. You would just be like, oh, that kid, he's a little weird. Like, he goes here and he does that, or she does this or that. Like, everybody knows everything.
Yeah, there had to be people saying to each other, like, oh, shit, keep that one away from Harvey.
100%. 100%. And you don't think Clinton went home to Hillary and was just like, well, I got a free flight to Africa, but he showed me a couple pictures of 13-year-old girls, but we got there. You know, like, it's just like, you don't think he had those conversations with the dude? Like, the dude said, like, some creepy offhand comment to him or something?
Damn, it's so crazy that there's, like, the most immoral shit happening in these circles of, like, these uber wealthy people, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just the Clintons are always around it. Like, I don't know. It just pisses me off. I saw one of your videos earlier. It was the one of like MSNBC shitting on Bernie Sanders, or sort of like just saying you said like there was Iowa or something where he got pulled a little lower than what he normally was or something. They just made a big deal of it. But the lady on the panel was like Hillary Clinton's former something or other. So of course she's going to say some negative shit about Bernie Sanders. You know, it's just like they pick and choose who's going to speak about a topic. So obviously she's going to say some negative shit about Bernie Sanders, you know, like that lady pissed me off.
Dog, you should see the headlines that have been coming out where they talk about the election, and all the polls are like, Biden still leads, and you have Kamala and Elizabeth Warren in third. And every single one just says that. It's not like, if it was just one, okay, but it's like endless. It happens every time. They all, like, they never say Bernie, ever.
That's weird.
They have a bias. They don't like him. They don't like him.
Yeah, I mean, the argument that they were saying that, like, he's saying the same shit that he said 4 years ago, it's just like, yeah?
That's good.
It's not working. Meanwhile, everybody on stage is practically fucking regurgitating the same shit that he's been saying for all of these years. So obviously, something's changed. You know, it's like, oh, well, this hasn't worked. And it's just like, no, everybody on stage is where they are because they're trying to, latch onto some shit that he's brought to the fucking table.
Yep, exactly.
And you got old fucks like who is it? Who was the guy? Was it Chris Matthews?
It's Chris Matthews. Yep.
Just saying, like, you know, I just love when people say what I'm about to say, even better than I'm about to say it, or some shit. And it's just like, shut up, like, you old fucking fart.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, these guys have been on TV forever, and they're like usually in third place in the ratings of the three networks, Fox News, CNN, and MSNBC. And it's like, do you realize that you objectively suck at your job? If I was on TV for 10 years, I would not be losing to anybody in that time slot. I would have doubled or tripled everybody in those time slots.
Well, you made a great point when we were at Politicon, and it was just like, we would see someone who's on MSNBC or CNN or some shit, and they would book them in these huge fucking, like, town halls, like these huge rooms.
Huge rooms.
Nobody would go to those.
Nobody.
Shit. Like, Politicon would be on their dicks, like, oh, Chuck Todd's gonna be in room 1540, the biggest room we've got here.
And there's 17 people in the audience, and then it's like, and then it's me. They put me in, like, a fucking broom closet, and we got it, like, packed to capacity, and people are standing along the sides and stuff. And they just don't, like, they go by what their perception of, like, who the biggest person is. And obviously they put the online people lower. and then they put the fucking people who are on TV higher, and it's like, well, no, you don't get how this thing works. Like, you don't understand that, yes, Chuck Todd may have 600,000 people watching, but that's because, like, 500,000 of them are in airports around the country, and they're in barbershops, and, like, they're not paying attention, and if they hear him say anything, they're like, fuck him, and, like, so, like, 100 out of the 100,000 people, like, only half of the 100,000 that chose to watch, 50,000 of them are like, fuck this guy, 25,000 of them are like, who is this guy, and then only, like, 25,000 are like, he's okay, and maybe you have, like, 17 people left who actually like him, and those are the 17 people that showed up at Politicon, and then, meanwhile, for our show, you gotta, like, there's nothing but content online. If you're watching this shit, you like it. Like, you like it, so you're going to show up to an event like that.
Yep.
Yeah, it's funny. They're just biased. They just think, like, oh, on TV, must be serious. They had fucking Bill Crystal. Chris Christie was in that big-ass room. We went in there. It was, like, 25% full, the room.
There was that one lady who was, like the gym teacher from Glee. You know who I'm talking about.
I do.
I don't even say her name because, I just want people to picture the gym teacher from Glee being there, because then they'll get mad at me. But she, like, felt like everything she said was gold, and I was like, yo, relax. Like,
yeah,
you're the moderator, you're not, like, the main person on the stage. Like, chill out.
She said some shit that was like, I'd vote for you, or something like that in the middle of his speaking, and everybody was like, the fuck?
She said that shit to who?
She said that in the middle of Christie talking.
Oh.
She was like,
she
oh.
tried to, like, reprimand the crowd, and I was just like, just be on the panel. Like, don't yell at the crowd. Like, relax.
Yeah.
You know the crowd was ODing at one point.
Yeah. So before we came on, I saw that Nicki Minaj was going to do a show in Saudi Arabia, and then there was backlash, and then she was like, I looked more into it and I researched it. I'm canceling the show. Fuck Saudi Arabia.
I'm surprised she did that.
I sort of respect the shit out of that, though. That's pretty gangster. That she was just like, yeah, I had agreed to it, but I'm out now.
Yeah. No, that's, like, respectable of her. She'll probably be back there. I mean, like, money talks. Floyd Mayweather's been there, so, like, he's done weird shit.
Yeah, money talks, but she doesn't need it.
Everybody needs that shit.
She doesn't need it. She got a million other ways to make money. She doesn't have to go to Saudi Arabia to make it.
I think Jennifer Lopez went there. She did some.
No, it wasn't Saudi Arabia. It was some other dictatorship.
Oh, really?
And she took money from the government of some dictatorship.
I mean, if you could, almost on the other side is, like, if you could sway their government to just pay you a boat ton of money, like, you could go there.
But it depends. Like, no, because then they're not gonna change their fucking, like, they're literally beheading people for, like, sorcery and witchcraft, and, like, they just let women drive like 3.5 minutes ago. They're doing a genocide in Yemen. Like, they're super fucked up. It's almost like saying, hey, if Nazi Germany paid you to go give a concert, would you do it? It's like, no.
I would do, like, I would do my concert in Germany, but only Jews are allowed to come, or something like that. Like, she should say only women are allowed to come to the shit, and, like get creative that way. Don't just cancel your shit, but, like, do something that the government has to be like, fuck.
No, then they'll tell you to go fuck yourself. They'll be like, oh, fuck you. We're not having women out there.
I feel like it'd be more of, like, a hard to get shit where they'd be like all those horny men, like, oh, we really like Nicki Minaj.
Yeah, I can imagine, like, some rich
conversations of how they came up with Nicki Minaj. They were just looking at pictures of, like,
that's what I'm saying. Some rich ass dudes wearing their, like, gowns, their traditional garb, and they're talking like, oh yes, oh, very nice. I like to put some whipped cream on her hunka, huh? Yes.
I put some hummus all in that.
You said hummus. Oh.
They definitely had, like, a mean debate of, like, her or Cardi B. And
that's so true.
Like a backup that they're gonna use right now.
That's so true. Yeah, I feel like those dudes.
Creepy.
I mean, there's a lot of stories about all these, like, Saudi, like, rich Saudi royal family types who, like, come to the U.S. and then they get into all this legal trouble. They, like, crash fucking, like, Maseratis going 150 miles an hour, and they get caught, like, raping bitches, and then they run away.
Just because they fucking have the freedom to just do whatever the hell they want?
Pretty much, and then it's almost like the legal system here is handcuffed to doing shit because whatever punishment they try to give to these Saudi princes, the government's like, we can't let you do that because that'll ruin diplomatic ties with Saudi Arabia.
Isn't that so weird? The whole like deportation thing. Like, I know, I know Dominicans from when I went to DR that like my brother was like, oh, he got deported from like the U.S. like, and like one of them we thought killed a dude or like others like did some other fucked up shit. But it's just like, if you're from another country, you could just get deported back to your country and do some crazy shit here in America. You know?
Yeah, usually like you have to have committed another crime to get deported.
Committed a crime.
Like, they won't just deport you if you're an undocumented immigrant, usually. But now, under Trump, that's changing a little bit. They will just deport undocumented immigrants. But usually it was you had to also commit a crime. You know what I mean?
Like you could stab someone or, like, do some crazy shit to someone and they'll just deport you back to your country?
Well, no, I think in a situation like that, they'd probably put you in prison. But
they'd still charge you.
But it depends on the kind of crime it is. You know what I mean? If the crime's not that serious, they'll probably just deport you.
There was,
Or if you serve time and then you get out and then they deport you.
Okay. Yeah. There was a kid who played on the basketball team at Binghamton when my brother and sister went there, and he got into some crazy bar fight and like knocked some kid's head open, like skull was out, all that shit. And he had like went back to Serbia or something like that. And the US government was like trying to get him, but the Serbian government was like, nah, we're not like releasing him, like you can't have him. And he was like protected by his country because like he had fled and went back to his country, but like put this kid into like a crazy coma here in the U.S. It was a wild story.
No shit.
Yeah. So it's like sometimes that shit helps when you can fucking just go back to your country if you do some fucked up shit.
Yeah, I mean, if they're gonna circle the wagons and like try to protect you.
I get mad at seeing all this shit. Like, I mean, it's just fucked up that some people have like that safety net, like that shit about David Hasselhoff. They were like making light of, he got pulled over for speeding in Italy, and like the cop that pulled him over was just like, "Oh, you're David Hasselhoff," and he was like, "Yeah, do you want a picture?" And they got out of the car and took a picture, and it was just like these three white guys smiling for a picture in front of his Maserati, and they were all laughing about it on GMA, and I was like, let like fucking Jamie Foxx or somebody get pulled over in Italy. Their ass is getting beaten. Like,
well, I think Jamie Foxx is so famous he could get away with it. But yeah, some other black dude.
It's just the fucking double standards are crazy. Like the fact that they're laughing about it on GMA and like other people, like it wouldn't be so fucking like it wouldn't be that.
Well, yeah, it's two legal systems. I mean, a lot of that. How are you going to change that though? Because I feel like a lot of that is human nature. Because if you see, it's like if you were a cop and you pulled me over, there's a 0% chance you're giving me a ticket because I'm your boy.
True.
And so you'd be like, what am I going to do? I'm going to give him a ticket when he was going fucking 12 miles an hour over the speed limit? Come on. So it's almost like all celebrities have that leg up because it's like, people view them like celebrities are everybody's friend. That's how it's viewed. Like a regular person sees a famous person, and in their mind, it's like, I know that person. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like if we see Denzel walking down the street in New York City, our thought is like, oh shit, it's Denzel. And you have that reaction of like, I know him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like, it's almost like they're everybody's friend. So they just have a leg up because if the person notices you, you know what I mean? If the person notices you, they'll be like, oh shit.
Yeah, they give you the benefit of the doubt.
They give you the benefit of the doubt.
Well, it's also about how you perceive them. Like if I was a cop and I pulled over James Dolan, I'm finding like all the type of tickets to give him. I'm giving him speeding ticket. I'm telling him that like his seatbelt wasn't, so like that's why these cops have to go through these crazy tests to become like a state trooper or cop, because you can't have any biases towards anybody.
Oh please, they have so much bias.
I know, but it's nuts. I've got a buddy who's trying to get into the police force out here in Illinois, and it's like you have to answer these questions on like, how do you see, drinking and driving? Like, what if someone has 2 drinks or something like that? And you have to put like, agree, strongly agree, like it's okay, it's not okay. However you answer the question, like they're looking at it some type of way, like maybe they want someone who like lets you have 1 drink or something like that.
Yeah.
You go under the limit, but you're going to try and answer it where it's just like, no drinking is allowed. So it's like, you don't know what type of cop fucking passed that test that pulled you over.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, many times with cops, I knew a few people who wanted to become cops, and one of them that I'm thinking of now, he was just like, he literally just wanted to become a cop so he could have authority over people because he was kind of picked on his whole life.
But we knew a cop in Rochelle who used to play in the freaking illegal card spot that we played at.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I remember that.
He's robbed the cop, and I would always hope that I got pulled over by him if anything would happen, because I would just be like, yo, who's your boss? I'm going to tell him you're doing some illegal shit too.
No, man, you don't know how to use... Like, with a situation like that, you can't respond like that. You got to be like, oh, Rob! And then he's like, oh, hey. And then he gets... Because of that, you get off.
I'm always like... Everyone out there who says, like, that they've got... You know... like, my stepbrother has, like, a PBA card. And he's always like, oh, if I get pulled over, I'm a Jedi. I'll get out of it. And I'm just like... How do you spark that conversation with a fucking cop? Like, you just got pulled over for doing some illegal shit.
Well, you put the sticker right near your registration.
Do you think cops really care about that shit?
Yeah, I do. Because then they'll think... What that says to them is, oh, shit, if I give this guy a ticket, then my other cop friend tomorrow might be like, yo, did you give Dave a ticket? Come on, dog. Like, that's my boy.
I guess so. That's a good argument.
Yeah, like they're because they look out for their own. Is the thin blue line.
But then you could also make the argument if like the cop knows you and likes you, pulls me over, and I'm just like, "Yo, Kyle's my boy," and they're like, "Oh, yeah, and?"
Well, it depends. If they know you from this show, then yeah, you'll probably get off if they like you.
No, I'm not saying like me, like in the show example, but like if you're a cop or some shit, they're gonna be like, "Okay, cool, you've got a relationship with Kyle. I don't give a fuck. You were still speeding."
Well, I get that. That depends. Like, it depends what the gray area is. Like, if you got somebody who's a hard ass who's like, I don't, like, I never.
Depends on how much they value their relationship with you too. Like,
yeah.
They could withstand that you going up to them and being like, "Yo, you gave Corin a ticket. He said he mentioned my name and shit like that." You'd be like, "Yeah, I don't give a fuck. He was speeding. He was going 50." You know, like.
Yeah.
I just think all those people that think they have PBA cards and power and like, oh, my stepfather's uncle is a cop. And they'll be like, oh, nice. Here's your ticket.
I feel like more times than you're giving credit for, that actually works, though.
You think?
I do, yeah. I mean, they've... what's his face? Michael Wood, who was the former Baltimore cop, said it in all these interviews that he gave. He basically said, like, we're told, hey, here's where you go police. And the areas where they're policing is just all poor and minority areas.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's where you give out the tickets. That's where you arrest people. And he said... The nice area of town, God forbid I gave a ticket to them because that might be the judge's son.
Yeah.
That was their thinking. Their thinking was like, I can't do it over here. Over here, they get the benefit of the doubt because they got money and they know people. Over here, no, it's poor people, it's people of color, and those are the ones who you go after.
That's so crazy. But their whole fucking... Oh, they're showing Chris Moneymaker on TV. Fat fuck.
What are you watching?
There's 2019 World Series of Poker's on. ESPN.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Should probably watch that.
What was I? Yeah, it's messed up because it's usually the kids that are the wealthiest and have those connections that are doing the way fucked up worse shit than the people who are in poverty just trying to like get by.
Turn it on. It's on ESPN, right?
Oh, someone's got pocket aces versus king, and we can't see the other card.
Oh, I hate when they do that. Just show the whole shit.
I know. Maybe he didn't even look at his other card because
It could be. It could be that they just didn't get it.
Rose. Oh, the guy's name is Rose. I thought it was like he rose. Aces versus kings.
I gotta get new contacts, man.
Are you watching this?
Yeah, I just turned it on, and it's not like the easiest for me to see.
It's the worst. That guy's got king something. He's probably got king queen suited. And it's aces versus kings.
I already want to play cards just looking at this.
There's gonna be fireworks. Let's see what happens. This guy, I don't know which guy. Oh, the guy with the kings might fold him.
I wonder what day this is.
No, he's in a. You can't. If he folds here, that's impressive.
I wonder what day this is.
He called, of course. Oh, he went all in. Ah. Yeah. The guy with the king nothing showed all aces kings.
He's spiking a king, dude. Classic aces versus kings. This is one of those situations where it's like the guy,
drop, you think?
the guy with the kings was just fucked. But I think a king's dropping here because it's being shown on TV. Oh, this is the 4th day, man.
Is that how many days are?
Like a week. It's like a week
days.
now, I think.
Yeah.
Because there's just so many people.
I wonder if Tommy went out for this.
Possibly.
Aces, kings.
I'm telling you, a king's hitting, or else they wouldn't be showing it. Oh, shit. Never mind. Ace hit.
Oh.
That's game, set, match, unless...
Oh.
Does he have does he have a heart? Nope. It's done. It's over. He needs running. He needs runner.
0.1.
He would need king.
Yeah.
Nope. It's over. Aces wins.
7.
Maybe they're showing it because this guy's like a pro who's known, who just got knocked out. You know?
It's also an exciting hand, aces versus kings. I mean, everybody wants to see that shit.
Yeah, but I always feel like the shit they show on TV is always the things that are like wild.
Yeah.
So like it's when you see the outdraws.
That guy's got a little like unicorn Furby thing next to him.
Little card protector.
No, it's like a you remember it's like a beanie baby.
Yeah, but he's probably using it as a card protector, no?
I think it's just on the table. That's like if you had a weird just a beanie baby that sat on set with you.
Is this or do they do this live or is this pre-recorded?
It says live.
Okay. Interesting. That's pretty cool. I wonder if Phil Ivey got knocked out.
That guy on the end of the table looks familiar. He looks like the guy with the Lakers shirt on and the arm sleeve. He looks like somebody. That guy.
I don't know. I don't recognize him. We should probably end this because we're talking like we're not doing a show.
I gotta do a chat with Molly.
Yes, yeah. Let's wrap this up because you were supposed to do that like 15 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, guys. We love you. We'll talk to you soon. Sorry if the audio's fucked up. We'll try to get it taken care of before the next show. Peace.